This tiny TikTok shop generated over $30,000 in sales last month. We did it using a small number of affiliates, a small internal team, and a new approach that's working for us, but also working across some of the top ranking TikTok shops right now. Today, I'm going to break down the exact strategy used to get these kind of results so that you can go ahead and try the same for your TikTok shop. Here I have a full outline with the exact strategy used to scale this TikTok shop. Now, I broke it down by all the different components that went into getting these kind of results. And I want to cover some of the main action items within each one. Let's first start off with the TikTok shop listing. So this is the foundation, just like how on Amazon, you optimize your Amazon listing, or on your website, you optimize your product page. Your TikTok shop listing should be treated the exact same way. So some of the main things that we do is make sure that we have high quality images, a mixture of like quality product images, lifestyle images, ownership benefit images, and more. Next is we have optimized product descriptions, making sure that we include any information that's important for a potential customer to know before purchasing the product. And then last but not least, TikTok shop is all about like promotions and good pricing. So we constantly stay on top of testing different promotions out, always having something running. And also we take the time to prepare different bundles, whether it's packs of the same product or bundles for main product plus another product that we can cross-sell. And this typically works with getting people to purchase more than just an individual product. And a lot of what I'm going to be sharing here in this video are things that I'm currently doing, but not all things that I necessarily came up with, right? I looked at what was typically working across the leading and top performing TikTok shops, and I got ideas from them and I started to use and try the same things out, and it just ended up working for me as well. And so if you look at some of the top ranking TikTok shops, let's just take Goalie, for example. The last 30 days, they have done $5 million. And if we go to their top selling product, it's the ashwagandha gummies. We look at their individual product listing, right? Notice how when you first land on the listing, they have a nice product image here that has a combination of this certification icon for credibility, authority. It has this America's #1 ashwagandha brand icon, right? That just makes it stand out, right? Automatically makes their product look superior compared to like others on TikTok shop. Here you can see a little bit of like their actual gummies themselves. If you go scroll through and you look at the bottom, you already see that they're saying, hey, here's an offer, add 3 to your cart, get each for $11. So you can automatically save right away by just buying more than just one. If you scroll through their images, you can see that they have lifestyle images with people and their product. Here they have an image with an ownership, with all the ownership benefits of the product, maintain quality of your life, promotes sleep quality, supports memory and concentration, and more, right? And if you keep scrolling through, they have all great images and they all serve a unique purpose for their listing. If you look at their title is well put together. If you look at their description, right, it goes over what's inside of our gummies. There are more details on their ingredients and more. And so overall, like a very well put together TikTok shop listing. In fact, if you look across any of the top performing TikTok shops, you're going to notice that they're all doing the same. They're all taking the time to make sure that they have an optimized TikTok shop listing. So that's one of the first components that I wanted to cover. Next, we have TikTok creator incentives. So when it comes to growing your TikTok shop, really there's 2 ways, right? And I wanted to have this title here for this video, the new way to scale an e-commerce brand using TikTok shop in 2025, because basically, up until now, majority of TikTok shops focused on really growing and scaling on TikTok shops, relying on basically majority on affiliates, right? And majority of the traffic that comes from affiliates posting and creating content. However, what I'm currently seeing working now is a mix of working with affiliates, but also creating content internally for TikTok shop. And that's been working extremely well. And I'm going to showcase that and show some examples. But when it comes to actually sourcing affiliates, we're still all for finding different content creators and finding different affiliates. And one of the things, for full transparency, that we did with this brand is we didn't start off like just looking to work with like only affiliates on a commission only basis, right? A lot of newer TikTok shops, they'll come on and they'll, obviously have a little bit of a lower budget, so they're not able to kind of go out and start spending crazy, which is understandable. But this particular TikTok shop, we're in a little bit of a different spot. So we just wanted to cut a lot of time, energy, and efforts out of the equation of finding like quality affiliates. And so what we did is we went and we found strategic affiliates, mainly affiliates that already had experience promoting the specific products that we sold for this TikTok shop, and reached out to them, and we basically offered them set retainer plus commissions to create content for the TikTok shop, right? Ideally, if you have a budget, this is what I would recommend to do. It allows you to save a lot of time, energy, and efforts like on working with low quality affiliates, and it allows you to have a guaranteed set amount of consistent content that's going to come in. So that's what we did to get the first handful of affiliates. Like I said, for for this individual TikTok shop, we don't have like thousands of affiliates, right? And we don't have a massive team. And so we had to be strategic about how we went about all the products that we shipped out to affiliates and more, and like how much we spent there, as well as being strategic about which affiliates we decided to even work with, right? Usually, if you look to reach out to affiliates on a commission only basis, you're going to get the lowest quality affiliates unless you're already a viral TikTok shop brand. This TikTok shop brand is not viral by any means. I mean, they have small following. And so for them, we had to get creative in terms of like how we attracted affiliates. And so what we did is, again, reached out to these affiliates, very targeted affiliates. This is something new that we're seeing working really well compared to before. Before, we would just start off working with like as many affiliates as possible, not really targeted. But now we actually take the time to find strategic affiliates that have already had experience generating sales and promoting products that are very similar to the ones that we're promoting. And we focus on those affiliates first. And then once we've kind of ran through and worked with those affiliates, we then start to branch off and look for more broader affiliates that are not as targeted as these. But this is how we go about attracting affiliates in the first place. Now, again, this is more so because this is a newer TikTok shop brand. If you are an existing TikTok shop brand and you already have leverage, you already have a large following on TikTok, you already have affiliates that are already doing well, promoting your products, and you're already actively selling on TikTok shop, it's a little bit different. You can probably get away with just finding affiliates on an ongoing basis with just commission only offers. But we like to have in specific affiliates that we work with on a retainer as well as commission, because we like to also work with the creators to get constant guaranteed content. We like to know how much content we're going to get each month. And so basically this structure gives us that confidence and clarity of knowing that we're going to get X amount of content every single month. And also we can work a lot more closely with the affiliates and ask them for specific types of videos to promote specific promotions if we need them to, and more. And so those are some of the advantages that we see from doing this. And again, these are things that you'll see commonly being done by also the top performing and leading TikTok shops currently right now. And so that's everything when it comes to TikTok creator incentives. Now, this is probably one of the biggest shifts and focuses that I have seen have a much bigger impact as of lately. And I think it will continue to be the case going into 2025, but also the future when it comes to TikTok shop. So the approach that we took specifically with this TikTok shop is we started off initially, of course, lining up affiliates that we're going to work with, but also we got started by hiring an internal TikTok content creator that basically their only responsibility is creating content every single day for the brand. And if you actually look at the breakdown of where this $30,000 came from, you can see that we did live streams. And from the live streams, we generated total $1,700 from the live streams, but we generated $1,600 from linked accounts. By linked accounts, this is like our own brand account, and only $56 from affiliate accounts. Looking at the revenue that came from videos, we generated $15,000. Out of this $15,000, $7,000 came from linked accounts, which is again our brand account. So 48% of all the revenue that we generated came from our own account, our own content creation. And then 50% came from affiliate accounts, right? And then if we look at the product card, this gives you a breakdown, but here it's almost the same. So basically the reason why I wanted to showcase this is because right now, when you consider the revenue that came from lives and also from the videos and the split here, right now, roughly 60%, all the revenue that's coming in every single month for this TikTok shop brand is coming from content that we're creating internally ourselves. And that's a pretty big shift, because up until now, the main approach that everybody has talked about and everybody has taken to grow their TikTok shop is only relying on affiliates. But as you can see, you don't only need to rely on affiliates. We started picking up traction and generating sales for this TikTok shop without even having affiliates. We started off first creating content internally, figuring out what kind of content will work to generate sales organically for us first. And then we started bringing on affiliates. And this is how it's been every single month, right? We're seeing the same trend in terms of breakdowns between how much revenue comes from our own internally made content versus affiliate content. And I think that this is going to be, again, the approach that's going to be taken by more TikTok shops in the future, because again, you get much more control over the amount of content you're putting out. So instead of going out and allocating a big budget on, recruiting different affiliates and paying them to promote content and not even being consistent, etc. This obviously guarantees you that you're going to have consistent content being put out every single day, because this is somebody that you're bringing in to create content for you and the brand. This has been a big unlock for us, but also, again, other TikTok shops as well. If you look through the top TikTok shops, I have some examples here pulled up. If we go and we look at Comfort, this is a brand that in the last 30 days, they did $5 million. If you look at the top creators, notice how their own account, the content that they made from their own account, out of this 5 million, they literally generated 1.3 million, right? Which is a significant portion of the total revenue that they generated. To be specific, 27% of the revenue that came from this 5 million was from their own accounts. Now, this is a big deal because now all this revenue is a lot more profitable than the revenue that comes from the TikTok shop affiliates. Like, of course, with TikTok shop affiliates, you have the commissions you're paying out, any other costs involved. While, with this revenue that you have, it's going to be a lot more profitable because it's content that you created yourself internally. Now, obviously, you're going to have your costs for whatever you're paying to get that content made, but it's for sure going to be a lot more profitable than content that's from affiliates because, again, you're obviously paying out a commission, you have ad costs, more, right? So that's just one example. If you look through and you look at micro ingredients, again, they have their seller operated account itself is like one of their top. It's an account that generates a good portion of revenue as well. It's not as significant. It's only 12% of the total revenue, right? If you look at Vivor Store, this is a TikTok shop that in the last 30 days did 2.8 million. Their self-operated accounts did roughly 25% of their total revenue. You can see that literally they have many different accounts that they created themselves, and they're just creating their own content. And they have literally, their top creators are literally their own pages that are creating content, right? They're literally outperforming all the other affiliates. Now, of course, they have so many more affiliates than they do of their own pages. So of course, the revenue that comes from affiliates is going to be a lot greater than the revenue that comes from their own pages. But notice how, again, there's a big focus on them creating their own content, right? And they have 3 different pages just to create content. Here's another example, another brand. This is one example, but I wanted to show another one. So these guys here, Fitness at Home, in the last 30 days, they've done $2.3 million. You can see a breakdown of, they literally have 4 different seller operated pages where they're just, again, they've hired an internal content creator and they just have their own content being created every single day, right? And these pages are leading in terms of like the revenue that's being generated per page, right? Their main page is generating more than any of the affiliates that they're working with, which is massive, right? So you're starting to see that this is becoming a lot more popular and being done a lot more frequently across many TikTok shops, because the name of the game of finding thousands of affiliates and retaining all of them, it's a difficult game. It's not easy to constantly have to find new affiliates, and retaining them is not as easy as well. And so it's much easier to instead have separate pages dedicated to different content creators that you hire internally full time and just have them consistently posting content, right? You have literally a guaranteed source of content every single day on a constant basis. And that plays a big role on growing on TikTok and TikTok Shop. Now, when it comes to creator sourcing, I'm not going to spend too much time on this, but ideally, this is the entire process that we use to source different affiliates and creators. A lot of what we do is we focus on having a diverse platform of channels that we reach out on. So we reach out on TikTok, but we reach out on email, on Instagram, on Twitter if the creator is there. Anywhere that we can find a profile for the affiliate that we want to reach, we reach out to on there. Because the problem right now is that affiliates get bombarded with messages every single day. My girlfriend creates content on TikTok and she's an affiliate, and she's not even a large like top 10 affiliate, and she gets no less than like 100 messages per day. And so the problem with reaching out only on TikTok is that a lot of times these affiliates, they may not even see your message because they just get flooded with so many messages. It's not even that they're not interested, it's just that they're not even seeing your message in the first place, right? So obviously, these are some of the things that we do. I'm not going to cover this because I feel like for the most part, outreach, people have a pretty good grasp on how to do this. But the main things that I see working well for outreach is, again, making sure that you're reaching out on more than just TikTok, making sure that you're filtering out and finding strategic affiliates first. That's what I'm doing and I'm seeing working well. I'm focusing on strategic affiliates that already have experience creating content for the category of products that I'm looking to promote, working with them first. And then I'm also being creative about how I reach out to in terms of the model that I'm proposing to that affiliate, right? So for some affiliates, I'm offering commission only. For some retainers, some a mix of retainers and commission. But starting off, I am mainly focusing on retainers and commission. But as I grow, typically what I am going to do is then focus on commission only retainers to kind of get a good mix of both affiliates that I can find. So those are the main kind of key takeaways for creator sourcing. When it comes to creator onboarding and management for this, still commonly used is either Discord or WhatsApp. WhatsApp has become a little bit more popular just because there are more people that are on WhatsApp than are on Discord. So it's a little bit more native just because there's more users. But I personally don't have a preference. I think that both are great. Discord, you can have things a little bit more organized and a little bit more of an infrastructure in place, but then not everybody's on Discord. You got to show them how to use it, etc. WhatsApp, it's a lot more straightforward, but you just can't have like as much of like an in-depth system fully built out. But again, no real preference on either one. Right now, mainly focusing on Discord, but also trying out WhatsApp, and that's been working really well because we're getting a lot more responses on people on WhatsApp. Now, moving on to content creation. This is obviously a big piece of growing on TikTok Shop. And so really when it comes to content creation, in my opinion, one of the most important pieces is whenever you're creating any content, right, making sure that you're leveraging current trends on TikTok. Automatically, any content made around a recent trend on TikTok gets much more views and much more engagement versus content that maybe is not following a current trend. Now, there won't always be a trend to follow on TikTok, or there may not be any trends that are relevant for your brand or the products you're promoting, which is fine. But ideally, I would say if you can find trends and you can create content around those trends on TikTok, you're going to get a lot more reach with the content you create versus if you don't leverage trends. In my opinion, trends is literally everything. One of the things that we do is internally, our content creators work on, of course, identifying trends that we can create content around internally. But also, when they find any trends that are working, they immediately take those trends and they share them with the affiliates that we work with so that they can also leverage the same trend and create content around that trend as well. Because most of the time, you can get them to also get much better reach by them creating content around those trends than if they just created content that's not following those specific trends. So this plays a big role. So ideally, we get the benefit of having our internal creator, again, creating all this content for us, figuring out what's working, what's not, and then taking all these insights and then sharing those insights with our creators. And this is important because ideally for your affiliates, you want to treat them as your partners. If they do well and they generate sales, you do well. So that's how we see it. And we like to basically equip them with all the insights that they need to be able to have the best shot of having their content do really well. Now, what I'm currently seeing working really well is taking a very strategic approach to content. If you've seen in the past, you'll notice that a lot of people talk about just creating content on TikTok, but not many people talk about being strategic about the content that you post on TikTok. And so one of the things that's working really well for us and that we did and we're actively doing for this brand, but also all the other brands that we work with is we take a data-driven approach when it comes to optimization. So what we do is we have a look at, okay, what's all the content that we're putting out? What's doing well organically? And by well, we look at, okay, what's getting views? But even more important, what's actually driving sales? So of course, a lot of our content is linked to TikTok Shop. So we can actually see like what pieces of content are actually driving actual sales. And so we're looking at both. And the reason we like to look at both views and sales is because there's times where videos that get a lot of views don't always end up resulting in also getting a lot of sales. So ideally, we like to optimize for the videos that are actually driving actual sales, because at the end of the day, that's the most important piece to all of this, right? It doesn't matter how many views you get if you're not driving any sales. We've seen times where videos will go super viral, but from a sales perspective, they'll get outperformed from a video that has a quarter of the views that video has. So ideally, what we like to do is take the time to, of course, a new video created following, current trends, etc. Usually before we start posting any content ourselves, we look at what's currently already working right now on TikTok Shop. Like by right now, I mean this week, this month. Things on TikTok move fast. And so ideally, you want to make sure that you're currently keeping up to date with what's currently working right now on TikTok. And that's one of the things that we do. Before internally we create any content, we make sure that our internal content creator has taken the time to look at what's currently working from a sales perspective, like what videos are driving the most sales currently right now for some of the top performing TikTok shops. And then we get ideas from those videos and then we'll put together a new video, right? We'll test a video. We'll look at, okay, what performed, whatever did not perform, we'll look to cut and stay away from. Whatever did work, we'll look to gather that data and really double down and focus on creating more videos following that, but also look for more ideas following what we saw previously work. And that's the approach that we're using to optimize the content that we're putting out. We're not just creating random content without any insights or any data. And we're not looking to just put out content that gets views. We're looking to put out content that actually drives sales. So when it comes to content creation, those are some of the main kind of key components that go into content creation and that I think would be super valuable for you guys to know. And again, these are the things that are working. These other leading TikTok shops, they're also taking a very strategic approach to, getting their content to do well. They're not just posting all random content. Like, they're sharing insights with their affiliates on things that are working and helping the affiliates take a lot of time, energy, and efforts out of like testing random content that they don't know will work. Instead, they're kind of sharing like things that are already working, right? What's commonly done in this space is you would put together a brief that already has an overview of like current content that has done well in the past, so that a new affiliate coming in already has an idea of what has already worked for you, and they can start leveraging some of the same ideas or concepts or style of content to create all new content. So yeah, those are some of the main things when it comes to content creation. Now, the next component is scaling. So really, when it comes to scaling, we have two ways that we go about it. The first is scaling across organic. So this one is fairly simple, fairly straightforward. Whatever content we see do well here, right, internally, as well as from any of our other affiliates, we then take that content that's working well, and we will then have all of our internal content creators as well as all of our other affiliates recreate that same video following this exact same style of the video, the same hook, the same setting, literally the same everything, except with them recording it. And we have seen this work extremely well. And the next is we take all of that content and we then repost it across other socials, so Facebook, Instagram, YouTube Shorts, because if you already have that content there sitting, you might as well benefit from additional organic reach across other platforms as well. So this is how we go about scaling across organic. Now, last but not least, and this is where most TikTok shops achieve massive scale, is scaling with paid ads. So one of the things that we're seeing is that there's a very high correlation versus what videos do well organically, driving sales, and then those videos also working really well when it comes to paid ads. And so almost all the time, we take all videos that do well organically and we almost always test them as paid ads. And we're seeing this work extremely well. We're constantly finding new winning creatives for paid ads just from the videos that do well organically. And so if you haven't already tried that, you should, because there's a lot of gold there. Now, when it comes to scaling with paid ads, the approach that we take, and again, others take as well, we take the same top performing videos and we run those as ads across TikTok and TikTok shop ads, Facebook and Instagram ads, and YouTube Shorts ads. And again, this is how you really achieve scale. Almost every single one of these top performing TikTok shops, even if we take like Tarte Cosmetics and we look at the top performing videos, they're going to say that they're running ads on them, right? You do it. No TikTok shop is growing only organically, right? If you look at any of these TikTok shops, it's going to be the same. They're focusing on growing organically first, but then they're taking all the top performing organic videos and they're running those as ads. And so that's exactly what we're doing. We're not here reinventing the wheel by any means. We're doing what works. Now, for context, right? If we look at the breakdown of how ads performed, you can see that here on the left, I have just our TikTok shop ads. For this in particular brand, we actually didn't spend that much on TikTok ads, right? If you see here, in the last 30 days, roughly, we spent $1,200 on ads. We made back $11,000 in gross revenue. And they actually got a pretty good return on ads. Typically, GMV max ads, they do tend to work really well, but it's also because it's a mix of running ads to brand new audiences, but also like retargeting existing audiences of people that have already engaged with our TikTok shop profile or watch any of our videos. Now, where majority of the value is with basically growing your TikTok shop is, of course, to, get the benefit of generating sales from TikTok and TikTok shop and getting content being put out and then getting content that you can use for organic across all your other platforms, but also using the content that's working really well on TikTok organically for ads on TikTok, but also on all other channels. At least this is what we do. So for example, we took a good portion of the videos that worked really well as ads on TikTok, and then we ran them as ads on Meta. And you can see here, this is the triple wheel dashboard for this business. You can see that in the last 30 days, we took the same videos, we spent $67,000 on ads on Meta. We generated $283,000 in sales from those videos at a 4.2 ROAS. Here we have Google. This is a combination of Google search, Google shopping ads, but also YouTube ads. A small portion of the spend here is on YouTube ads with the same videos that we used from TikTok, right? And here we spent $18,000. We made back $123,000. We got a 6x ROAS. And so again, this brand, we're doing a lot more volume outside of TikTok Shop. Like I said, this is a newer TikTok Shop. We just started running TikTok Shop for this brand fairly recently, just a couple months, and it started to grow. But the main benefit that we're seeing from all of our efforts on TikTok, we're really reaping the benefits on other platforms and outside of TikTok Shop. And this is how most e-commerce businesses should consider on really seeing like the overall benefits of TikTok Shop. Now, the reason why I like taking this approach is because a lot of the creators that you'll work with on TikTok, they know how to create very native content that doesn't really feel like an ad at all. Like a lot of these TikTok content creators, they just literally create like UGC selfie style content, which just feels super raw. And so in my opinion, a lot of TikTok content creators just have a pretty good feel on how to create like very organic content. And so you get the benefit of working with organic content creators, but also you get the benefit of generating sales on TikTok. Right now, the reach you can get on TikTok Shop and on TikTok is unmatched. You can't get this kind of organic reach on any other platform. But really, I like to have this kind of infrastructure built out and leverage TikTok Shop for really content on TikTok and leveraging the current opportunity that there currently is with TikTok and TikTok Shop, but also to really fuel our other channels. As you guys can see, like it works extremely well. And so I wanted to share this overview because I think a lot of e-commerce businesses either aren't leveraging TikTok Shop the right way, or they're not maximizing it to its full capacity. And they're definitely not using like some of the approaches that I kind of mentioned throughout this video. And I think that one of the ones that I think more e-commerce businesses and e-commerce brands should leverage, again, taking a little bit of a different approach with TikTok Shop is, and having internal content creators that they work with full time, as well as having affiliates. And I think having both plays a huge role on the overall results that you're going to get with TikTok Shop. Again, this is fairly different, right? A lot of my past videos, I kind of covered how we took the approach of just hiring hundreds and thousands of affiliates and focusing on them creating content and relying on them for volume and sales. Now taking a slightly different approach, and this is working a lot better. We're getting more control. And yeah, I think it's a lot more sustainable, because ideally for TikTok and TikTok Shop, it's literally all about getting content at scale. And in order to do that sustainably and predictably, you need to have a mixture of internal content that's being created internally as well as through affiliates. And so, yeah, those are some of the main key things that I wanted to cover for this video. If you're an e-commerce business and you're looking to get help with TikTok Shop, down below this video in the description, there's going to be a link where you can actually book in a call with me and my team. On that call, we'll get to know more about you and your business. And from there, we can outline an action plan going over exactly how we can help you scale on TikTok Shop. If you guys have any questions about anything that I covered in the video, as always, drop it down in the comments below. And if you guys got any value from this video, I would always appreciate it if you dropped a like on the video. And if you want to see more content like this, covering these kind of insights, these kind of strategies, make sure you subscribe to the channel. And with that said, I'll see you guys in the next one.